Hey everyone, Tony here. It's been a while since I made a video. Actually, I make a video every week, nearly. Just don't really advertise it on this channel. There's a YouTube channel called 80 Star Basketball, and since December, I've been making the weekly auction recap where we go over star basketball cards from 83 through 86, and we look at the ones that sold at auction for that past week and the upcoming ones. However, one of the aspects of that video is I currently don't show cards, so I thought, well, let me show some star basketball cards, concentrate on the 76ers, and then I'll have this week's auction recap as part of this video. That if you want to watch, great. If not, at least you can see some cards. So first thing we're going to do is start with some bags. These are from the last year star base set, 85-86. Here we got the Trailblazers bag. This was picked up at the Philly show last December. These bags are open, by the way. Here we have the Nuggets team bag. Here we have the Nets team bag, and these are very similar to those who bought star cards in the 1980s, like the Steve Carlton, which I can actually show. So, if folks remember, Star put out basketball cards and baseball cards around the same time. And the baseball cards that I grew up familiar with were the cards they had of Mike Schmidt, Reggie Jackson, George Brett, and a few other players. So here's the Carlton one. You can see that the bag is sealed, and these are the same exact type of bag that Star used for their basketball sets. The sets came in team bags, unless you had a special award set, like the Rookie of the Year, and so on. So here's my Carlton. Thought it'll be pretty cool to show during this. Here's the Tom Chambers rookie card from the Seattle Supersonics set. What do we have here? Reggie Theus. So this is the King set. The Clark Kellogg Pacer set. Clipper set. Still 85-86. Ignore all these prices here. They're not accurate. Here we got the Bullets set. Team bag, I should say. And another thing you'll realize with especially 85-86 star cards is if you see the front border color bleeding onto the back, like here, that's pretty guarantees it being an authentic card, because you got to worry about some of these being counterfeit or type 2s. Here we have a team bag of the Golden State Warriors. Here we got the Spurs bag. Same thing here. You see the black border, a little bit bleeding in. And here's the Mavericks bag. Here we got some individual star cards, focusing again on Sixers mainly. This is from the second year base set. This is the Barkley rookie card in a 7. I also have the Barkley rookie card in a BGS 8. I bought a basketball collection last year before the National. Actually started in April 2024, and we didn't get the deal finalized until the weekend of the National with a collector from Cleveland. So I picked up an entire 84-85 star basketball set. Some of these were already graded, like this one. And then I had other star cards previously. And then I also picked up a 69-70 Topps basketball set as part of it. Here's the Malone. Nice photo. Barkley's a nice photo. I would put this set photo-wise against 86 Flair any day of the week. Here's the Irvin. Nice looking card. Centering and the bottom corner killed the grade. I had this graded. Pretty cool card though. Court Kings used to be big, 5x7 cards, inches. Now for the 86 year, they went to standard card size. So here's the Barkley, second year Court Kings. Here's the Olajuwon rookie card, autographed. There are no PSA 9s of this card, or 10. 8's the highest, which there's 2 of. Then the second highest graded ever autographed are 7 with the 10 auto. Pretty cool card. Second year Jordan won this in an REA auction before prices started jumping. BGS likes to overgrade cards. I got a couple examples of that, but I won't show today. So you look at the back. These were heavily counterfeited, and also some Type 2 sheets escaped, which were made by Star, but they weren't meant to be sold in team bags. Here's the last one we'll show today. This is part of the Jordan 10 card, 11 card set, I think. This is the future. I picked up this from Monster Cards, Tony Schaefer. He'll be on my channel next week to go over the Baseball Card Hall of Fame ballot. This is a pretty cool card. Thank you for looking at some Star cards with me. Again, if you want to keep up to date on Star news, feel free to check out the auction recap I do weekly. I'll also put a link to the 80 Star Basketball channel so you can see past ones. I am pretty candid in my auction recaps. I don't hold back. If I think a card is overgraded, undergraded, regardless who the third-party grader is, I state it. If I think a card was shill bid or had some shady bidding going on, I'll tell you. If I think a card sold for too much money because it was overvalued, I let people know. If cards are great, I let people know. I'm not one of these folks who pump and dump cards from, with my vintage videos. I'm a collector at heart. While acknowledge that a lot of us who do collect, a nice percentage of our collection unfortunately has to be considered some sort of an investment just due to the money involved. But yeah, take a look at the auction recap videos, and if you think I should do anything differently, or if you have an idea, or if you have a question, just leave a comment. Thanks, folks. Hey everyone, this is Tony with this week's auction recap. We're going to switch things up a little bit, talk about the Olajuwon autograph card that sold for a little bit over $15,000 last week. I saw that was relisted at Greg Morris. Then we'll get into past auction sales and wrap it up with upcoming auctions for your favorite Star basketball cards. So when we last met, we saw on April 10th the PSA 8 with 10 auto grade of the Hakeem Olajuwon card sold for $15,457. It appears that card was relisted. Why was it relisted? Was maybe the buyer didn't pay? Some error, but it had 45 bids. The bids just didn't look on the up and up to me. And for those who've been following me on my personal YouTube channel and on this channel since I took over for Kevin and helping Ryan out, whether I'm right or wrong, I always try to give you my honest opinion that I believe in. And I saw a little bit of shady activity. So take a look at the last video we did, and I go into a little bit about the bidding process. So anyway, on April 18th, the card sold But it wasn't an auction this time by Greg Morris. It was a buy it now or best offer. So I went into Card Ladder and I wanted to see what the card sold for. And we see the April 10th sale here, $15,457. I see the April 18th relisting sale here, also sold for the same amount of money. So I'll reach out to my friends at Card Ladder. We'll take a look at what happened, but one of these sales will be removed and we'll find out what the true sold price was. Just wanted to bring this up to folks' attention, and just so you know, it is the same cert I checked, ending in 3972. Let's move on to the other cards. I saw 3 Michael Jordan confirmed sales of the 101 card. We had an ungraded one. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Then on the 22nd, we had a BGS 8.5 with 9 subs sold for 40,100. This I want to talk about. Well, let's quickly go into this one. We also had on April 23rd, which was yesterday at the time of this recording, we had an altered sell for $12,000. Let's take a look at this card because a lot of conversation about this card was on the Facebook star group. Okay, first of all, we all know BGS doesn't grade these cards very strict, whereas PSA is the direct opposite. I think PSA is 95% of the time too strict on their grading, especially vintage. But these cards are treated like vintage, where if you have a slight surface imperfection or a corner ding, no, they really penalize the card. Centering also. So when I take a look at this card, I see a top ding here, fine, chip, if you want to call it. Then I saw a little bit of corner wear here. This corner's fine. This corner's fine. This corner has issues. And little might be a faint scratch here. Really can't tell. The scan's blurry. Centering for the card, top to bottom centering's good. And left to right centering is what we expect on the card. Maybe a little bit better than usual. But BGS consider this an 8.5. Now, from what I know how PSA grades these cards from personal experience and doing these auction recaps, and even before that, this would probably be a 6.5 because of the eye appeal of it. Maybe if the graders in a giving mood, they'll give a 7, but I think it's going to be a 6.5. The back of the card, because you got to take a look at that too. I see minor chipping around the edge. I don't see any dirty wear on the card from being stored in a binder or a penny sleeve with a top loader for too long. Sometimes you get the little brown dirt spots along the edges. So on the forum, people were saying, well, you got to look at the slabs, take them into account, and you can't always think about the PSA grade, what it could be when the card is in a BGS slab. I disagree with that way of thinking. I understand it, but I disagree with it only because forget the slab. You have to look at the card. So if BGS thought this was an 8.5, but in a PSA slab, it might be a 6.5. Well, guess what? You got to value it as a PSA 6.5, not as a BGS 8.5. Why do you do that? Because if you do it this way, if you think about the other company's grade, especially when the card is in a BGS slab and thinking about the PSA slab, you're thinking about the card itself, not the grader. Now, on the Facebook group, a lot of the folks thought this card was sold for what it should have been, or maybe $5,000 more. I personally think the card sold for $10 to $15,000 more than what it should have. I would have valued this card like a PSA 6 or 6.5 with very nice eye appeal, with an outside shot of a 7. So why do I value it that way and not what some of the other folks are saying, where if you have a BGS slab card, don't consider the PSA factor. Well, I think you kind of have to, because if you have a BGS overgraded card and it's going to be a PSA 6.5 or 6 or 7, take that PSA value, take it into consideration, and that's how much the car is worth. So when was the last time we saw a PSA 6 or 6.5 go for $40,000? It's been a while. You can look at the sales history. So when it comes to value in the card itself, in my opinion, you have to go with PSA, unfortunately. And this card is not worth $40,000 today. Will it be worth $40,000 in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years? Especially the further out you go, way more than $40,000. But for today, this is not a $40,000 card. Congratulations to the seller and buyer. Moving up to the next card, the MJ 195. There were 3 confirmed sales on the 17th, the 20th, and the 23rd. We had a BGS 7 go for $4,000, PSA 6 go for nearly $3,900, and we had a $2,900 sale for a BGS 6. Oh, and another thing about these cards that was pointed out on the Facebook group that I agree with. The vast majority of the great looking BGS slab, the 101s, they have been crossed over already. So if a card is sold at auction in a BGS 9 or 8.5 or even an 8 slab, chances are it's not a good crossover candidate. So you always have to have that in the back of your mind when you're buying these star cards, especially the 101. Going to the 288, I saw 4 confirmed sales, all graded, 2 PSA and 2 BGS. We had a BGS 5.5 sell for $2,800, BGS 6.5 sell for $3,600, BGS 7.5, excuse me, sell for $6,750. Not sure why it sold for $6,750, but it is what it is. PSA 4 sold for $3,281. And now we're on to the MJ 288 cards. We had 1 PSA and 3 BGS sales. Here we have a BGS 7.5 that sold for $6,750. I don't know why, in my opinion. Surface says 8. The surface is definitely not 8. The surface is probably 5. The centering is what we expect. So centering got a 7. It's what we see on these cards. Corners are sharp. I can see the corners getting an 8.5. I agree with that. Edges, nah, I don't think the edges are an 8. I think the edges are more like a 5 or a 6. So this is an overgraded card. Congratulations to the seller on the Fanatics Buy It Now platform. I hope the buyer's happy. BGS 6.5 went for $3,600. And I'm looking at this card, and yeah, it's a very blurry picture. Edge-wise, I can tell right off the bat, this edge is probably on par with this 7.5. 7.5 is a sharp card. It just has a lot of surface issues and a couple edge issues also. PSA 4 sold at Probstein for $3,281. Another example. Here's our PSA 4. Sharp card. Has typical left to right centering issues, but you look at the edges, you look at the corner, and PSA graded a 4. So for $3,281, I would take that card over this for $3,750. And I'm not here to harp on anyone's card. That's not my intent. I'm just being honest with everyone. Here we had the second year star, Michael Jordan, 117. This was an interesting one. So for $1,750 on eBay, 9 subgrades for surface, edges and centering. Corners got a 6.5. And why did the corners got a 6.5? Because of this bottom corner here. This is a fantastic looking card, except for this bottom right corner. It's a nice card. It's unfortunate it has the one corner, but if you look at the eye appeal, if I'm looking at this card from 18 inches away, yeah, I'm gonna see this faint corner bend here, but fabulous looking card, nice centering. Hopefully the buyer's happy. I see 4 confirmed sales. I see what we talked about at the start of the show, the relisting of the Olajuwon autographed card. I need to double check and see if this was the confirmed sale price. I did look at VCP just to get a second opinion, and they don't even have the card being sold on April 18th. They still got the April 10th original sale. So, got to do a little bit more digging. We had 3 Stockton sales, 0 Barkley sales. On the 22nd, we had a BGS 9 Stockton sell for $1,212. Again, I think it's one of those cards where if it was a great crossover candidate, it would have been crossed over already. I just been killed too many times crossing over these cards with surface grades on star cards, 8.5 or lower. Just be aware when you're buying Stockton cards about that diamond cut, because it could make or break the value of a card. Here we have 6 MJ 101s up for auction. 2 are ending tonight, Thursday, PSA 7, PSA 6, both on eBay. Then in 2 days at Golden, we have a BGS 8 and a PSA 6. The last 2, BGS 5.5 and a BGS 7, all on eBay. There are 2 195s for sale, BGS 8.5 and PSA 6, all on eBay. This is a BGS 8.5 on Probstein. With the 288, I see 2 that are for sale in an auction format, BGS 8 on eBay, Probstein, and a PSA 5 also on Probstein. You got some time to bid on these. With the Olajuwon, I only see 1 that's currently for sale, auction format. This is a PSA 7, and this is at Mile High, part of their big auction that ends in 3 days. Barkley, I see 1 that's for sale on Fanatics. This is a BGS 9. And the last card we'll take a look at are the John Stockton cards. And with the John Stockton, I see 2, both on eBay, BGS 7.5 and a PSA 4. Thanks, folks. Hope you enjoyed the auction recap.